incredible scene. I feel like everything I make, God is an executive producer for sure. But in that scene specifically, Shlomo Katz is someone I've come somewhat close to, and he happened to be at the Novus at the same time as Matisyahu. Neither of them knew each other were there. I happened to see him. I said, Matisyahu's here. He's like, oh my gosh, no way. So I connected them, and then Shlomo said, I'd like to give you a bracha. No one expected a real-time Birkas Kohanim bracha right there, but Mendy Portnoy is a friend of mine. He's a beautiful, great musician. He saw that scene before there was any music on it. He put that music that you see on that scene over it. And he just said, look, I was inspired, I put this music over it. When I saw that, I'm like, you are the composer of this film. And I just hired him for the rest of the film, and that's how it kind of came about. That scene almost edited before the rest of the entire film, just because it was so powerful. I just felt like, let's put this up and put the B-roll of the images of the victims, But that scene really actually was created, that and the meta scene actually was created before the rest of the film. And so it wasn't really a choice. It was almost like hashgacha pratit. It was, divine providence. God created it for us, for real, in that scene. And that was what happened.
It's a beautiful scene.
Did you misunderstand the question?
Did I?
I think you misunderstood. Thank you for talking about those scenes, but
I think she was asking why I memorialized those specific images, and I'm explaining.
No. She was just talking about you're capturing faces throughout the entire film, and
to me, it was an interesting balance of figuring out how to show what's happening in the B-roll versus what people are saying, and I think it was just trying to figure out a way to be sensitive to the content and really just show people telling the stories while also making it interesting enough to be visually interesting. I was just trying to find a balance. It's very sensitive, content, and I just did my best, I think.
He's messing with you, but it's beautiful. I wanted to point out there are Nova survivors here tonight. So I don't know. Yeah, thank you. This is the first time seeing it for each of you. Is there a particular scene that stands out for each of you and why?
It's not the first time I've seen it. I've watched these clips 400 times. The Birkas Kohanim thing with Shlomo Katz is powerful, and I don't know. I said to Shlomo and Matas, I think the other day, some of the emotion that sapped out of it when you watch the scenes over and over again. So now seeing it here, around other people, and kind of just looking around and seeing, yeah, this is meaningful to do. People have emotions for it, and emotions are good. So, yeah, that's my 2 cents.
The hardest scene to create was the Nova Survivor scene because the composer I hired is not a traditional composer, he's a great musician. And so trying to pinpoint the beats of each of those scenes to make the emotions work was very challenging for me and him. And we worked really hard till we got it right. And then once we got it right, I cried I think I cried 30 times over that scene. And the fact that I still cried this morning made me realize there's no way this isn't powerful because I shouldn't be crying this many times. It shouldn't be happening. It said a lot.
I think for me, the moment for me that was a really standout moment when I was there and you captured it in the movie is when Noam is telling her story of when you're seeing the Nova Festival footage and they're telling their stories of how they survived. And for some reason that really that seems to be the thing that just struck the chord the most with me.
Noam's literally airdropped me all the footage. I never looked at it until I started editing. I never even looked at what she sent me, and it was just about piecing it together. And I really feel like she sent me the perfect amount just to tell the story without being too overly graphic or too, you know, just enough. And
Yeah, the film is very powerful. I mean, I cried the first time I watched it on my computer, and this was so much more powerful on the big screen. You also give a window into footage. You know, we've seen footage, but we haven't seen it in this way, following you through these people's homes, through the sites. It's just, it gets you so in your gut. You know, it's just really emotional. And I mean, now that the film is out, I mean, it's available for the world to see and for you to share this message. So can you talk about that?
Yeah, I think after seeing it just now, we haven't had a chance to talk, but I think all three of us felt that it does tell a story that a lot of people can relate to. We've all been going through some version of something similar to this since October 7th. And I think that it connects, so yeah, we're gonna try to show it as much as possible, and obviously still making music, you know, so getting out there and trying to just be a source of strength and inspiration for the Jewish people.
I think what you do, what you've done, and your music is a source of strength and unites people and heals people. How about some questions?
Yes.
Thank you for the years of inspiration and for such a beautiful film and it's very moving. Matisyahu, excuse me. Thank you, Marcus.
Thank you, Johnny.
Marcus, I know you.
How you doing?
How we doing? It's been a minute.
It's been a minute.
A couple of years.
A few. Since Julicious.
Julicious.
Yeah.
Marcus.
Marcus asked me a week and a half ago to film something in New York on Thursday. I didn't even realize I'd be in New York Thursday. I'm like, yes, I will be. What's the event? He's like, it's 100 filmmakers combating anti-Semitism in a room. I was like, there's no better event I could be at. That's insane. Yes, I will film it. And we were able to talk about this film there. It was beautiful. Thank you, Marcus, for that.
A pleasure, and thank you for such a great introduction to my question.
You're no stranger to any of us. We all know you, Marcus.
Well, thank you. Thank you both for the years of inspiration and such a beautiful, moving documentary, and it turned around impressively quickly. Matisyahu, what sort of words might you have for a young, up-and-coming artist, a musician, a singer, a filmmaker who thinks they don't have the leverage, they don't have the name behind them, but they want to do something for Israel, something to fight anti-Semitism? What might you say to them?
Just do it.
Superb. Thank you.
I know some people just randomly just started being active about fighting for Israel, and it just took off. Like, you really don't know until you try. I think that's really the truth.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
My name is, I know I was a main photographer of the Nova Festival on 7 October, and the road is very interesting thing. I was sitting here and then I was, this guy, by the way, he was a dancer at the festival. And I was seeing, it's the first documentary that I'm seeing after the October 7. I saw nothing. And in this documentary, you were talking about Noam and David. Noam, she's a very good friend of mine, and David, he was a good friend of mine. And I shot the last picture of David on the 7th October, and I also gave it to Noam, and I have and it's it's a very unique situation to watch first time think about October 7 and seeing the kibbutz that I was for 9 months was not wanting to see, and then I think literally my friends who died and survived in that. So I want to thank you and to thank you about that. And I will take this opportunity because it's such a unique experience, I'm opening a gallery next week with my photos about the Nova Festival, and David, the guy the Noam boyfriend, he's my first photo on the gallery. He's the opening photo. And I would like to invite you and all of you to the gallery to see what's happening.
Yeah, where is it and when?
It will be in downtown LA. It's called The Spirit of Nova. I'm showing the Nova experience from the artistic point of view, assumption, and in a spiritual way, in light and positive. Like I'm taking somewhere relatable to you because you're talking so much about light and motivation and power, and not being a victim. And this is my way to be an artist and to say, I don't want to be a victim. I want to show the strengths and beautiful things that happened before that. And even after the Holocaust, the state of Israel was created. And after 7 October, we could continue move forward and with light and motivation. I would like to
Us, like a survivor, I really would want to know, like from day after 7th October, all this pain and all this stuff that we're going through, it's give us so much wisdom, so much blessing into healing process for real. And I just want to let you know that all of us, and I hope it's like all of us, going to a lot of blessing way now after the 7th October. And yeah, it's like the light comes from inside and it ends inside out of us. So about those fuckers, the sheets must go up before it goes clean. So yeah, let it clean.
Hi. Hi. I'm kind of nervous. I was curious about your choice to bring your kids with you when you visited Israel, and what was their experience and takeaways like from that?
I left the kids at home. My son is studying in Israel for the year, so he was there. But I'll say about my son, he after October 7th, I made him come home. Got him a ticket to fly home. And he was home for a couple of weeks. He got super depressed, and he said, like, Dad, you gotta send me back to Israel. I need to go back. And he was actually a big impetus for me to go to Israel, because he went back to Israel, and he called me right away. He was like, you have to see this. And he was filming on the street, just like people dancing and united and connected. And I realized that I had to go to Israel. So that was a big part of my going, was my son bringing me there.
Marcus, amazing film.
Thank you.
Amazing. How'd you do with these promoters? How, like companies like Live Nation and House of Blues, they're booking, and then all of a sudden you're coming to do a show, and they're not letting you do the show. What do you tell us? How do we support these promoters? And how do you feel about it? You have expenses of going to these places. Talk to me about it, I'm curious.
Well, it's kind of different situations, but about right in the middle of it, right after the first couple cancellation. No, was it before the first cancellation? So my manager at the time asked me to change lyrics in the song that's in the movie, the song Ascent. There's a lyric there where I say, it won't take long until I'm dancing on your headstone. It's not a very peaceful lyric. I'm obviously referring to Hamas, Hezbollah, terrorists, but he didn't want to get behind that. So, he gave me an ultimatum to change that lyric. And I didn't change it. So he dropped me right before that happened. So basically, I had to deal with these promoters myself. And with the help of my good friend Adam, he was my first promoter and one of my best friends over the last 20 years. So I called Adam and I'm like, he helped me through it all. But basically, it's a tricky business. Some people, like the second cancellation, the woman was Jewish. And, she was just looking out probably for her job, you know. I guess not everybody has so many options. People that have to do what they have to do, you know. I'm not the one to judge about that, really. So, you know, I was recently just taken off a festival this summer, the one festival that I got. They just decided not to put me on the flyer. And then when we asked when are they going to mention I'm on the festival, they were afraid that there might be protesters. So, you know, they're quietly paying me to go away. What's that?
Boycott that festival.
I was thrown off the summer tour I was supposed to be on because they were afraid that some of their fans might start protesting, you know. So this is like the common thing. Now, 10 years ago, the BDS threw me off a festival in Spain. I didn't even mention it. They mentioned it. The next day, the government of Spain was pulling the festival permits. You know, it was a massive thing that a Jew was thrown off a festival for an American Jew, not an Israeli, you know, because I wouldn't sign some paper about supporting the cause of the BDS. Now today, that's all changed, obviously. 10 years is a completely different climate, you know. Now, even, you know, you can say whatever you want, you can show up in front of the shul and not let people get in. And, you know,
So I've got the next question. My name is Josh. I know you guys from, like Marcus, from the Jewish Festival way back when with Rabbi Young.
His hair is longer than it used to be.
It's a little
so I don't
longer.
recognize it.
I'm older, hair's longer, grayer. But there, sort of the counterpoint to this, good news is there was a festival you did 7, 8, 9 years ago up in Northern California called High Sierra Music Festival. And with Rabbi Yonah, as you know, we've done Shabbat tent, where we go to the music festivals we've done that since, well, way back when. I think you were probably part of it at some point. And I got a call from the owner of the festival saying, or an email saying, we have some concerns about Shabbat tent at the festival this year. Call me if you want to talk about it. And I called her and I said, listen, we love you. We don't want to do anything to hurt your brand. If our presence there is going to cause issues because it's near the Bay Area, we'll sit this year out. She said, no, you misunderstand. I want you to be at our festival. I thought maybe you guys wouldn't want to come this year and be in the middle of all what's going to happen. She said, but if anybody gives you a hard time, I will cut the wristbands and kick them out. So Shabbat tent, High Sierra Music Festival, July 4th weekend. Some of these people still have the nerve to let the Jews show up.
awesome.
I just add really quickly to Matis's credit on David's question is that the second cancellation, and it's featured very briefly in the film. I don't know if you could catch it, the audio of it, but on the second cancellation, which was Tucson, I think, Matis went and found a venue by himself down the street, and then let everyone in for free. So his tour manager quit that day. I remember there were a lot of phone calls. I was on a different tour at the time, and there were a lot of phone calls about your tour manager bailed that day. Not just the manager, the tour manager, right?
I fired my tour manager that day.
Yeah.
He wasn't interested in helping.
Yeah. So Matis went and found his own venue and did the show. You know, somebody asked a minute ago, what do you say? And you said, just do it. I mean, it seems like a very blunt answer, but it's true. That's what you did.
It's true, yeah.
That's what you did.
Amazing. So here is Sal Litvak, who actually opened the Los Angeles Jewish Film Festival 19 years ago with When Do We Eat, and had his next film, another next film, recently, and he's got a question for you.
Matt, it's great to see you.
Hey, Sal.
Different context than when you sang in our backyard for an accidental unnoticed audience, but it's so amazing watching you grow, always. And I was so touched in this movie. Ben Zomas says, who's wise? One who learns from every person. And I love watching you learn from every person you encounter. Curious about, is the movie so much about interacting with people, the survivors, the families, the Israelis, the soldiers. I just wonder if you could talk about a moment that maybe wasn't on film, that wasn't with people, that was just you alone having a moment, and how you learned from the land.
How I learned from the land? It's very poetic.
Could be a song.
Do you have that clip? The clip? Let's see here. A moment, you're saying like a moment that wasn't in the film? No? I got everything. I'll find anything up there. Sorry, buddy. But I'll think about it.
Then I bless you that you should keep learning and growing in wisdom all the days of your life, and bring that wisdom and light everywhere you go.
Amen. Thank you.
Okay, we got one more question here in the audience from Adam Silver, who I see raising his hand over there as I run across the room.
You know, Jonathan knows everybody in this room.
You're good at this, though. Like, really good at it. You must be a Gabbai.
So there's a concept in Judaism that God brings the healing into the world before the disease. And you made a comment that you felt like you were brought into this world for this period. And when you look at your lyrics, they're really incredible to the song Two Child, One Drop. You have a lyric, I'm running in the desert, running in the sun, running out of blood. I'm going numb, I'm running and you're running. And we're running on empty. I'm running in the maze till I reach the sea. And it seems like you're talking about the Nova Festival. And I was wondering, when you sing these verses that you wrote well before this happened, do you feel a prophetic, a healing from before the illness coming into the world?
Yeah, that's what it kind of where I mentioned it in the movie a couple of times about the context shifting, and I've always been discussing this, my own spiritual struggles as a post-Holocaust, you know, growing up in the golden era of American Judaism, where we don't really face those kind of actual things, which now has changed, you know, so. But there's always, even during that period, or even my own personal struggles, I sort of related it to this greater Jewish context of the history of the Jewish people, and somehow felt connected enough to all of that to be able to write lyrics about it. And that's the thing, is that all of that kind of changes after October 7th, and it becomes real. Becomes not just this spiritual thing, but an actual physical reality that we're living in. And the songs resonate even stronger, I think.
Thank you so much.
Okay, before I hand it back to Hilary, I'm Jonathan Boyer, one of the producers on the film, and I just want to say, I've known Matis since he had payas and was wearing kapata.
Before payas.
Before payas, pre-payas.
Before Breslau.
Yeah, exactly.
Kebab.
I have many stories I could tell, many stories I shouldn't tell, but I just want to tell you one thing for sure. This man stood up in a moment when he was called out to stand up. And very few people in this world do that. And I'm so proud of you, Matis. I love you so much. You're an amazing human being. Keep doing what you're doing. It's tough, my brother.
Thanks, Johnny.
Thank you all. And I want to remind the audience, thank you for coming to the LA Jewish Film Festival. Before you leave tonight, take an audience award ballot and make sure you vote. Our films are in competition, and our filmmakers want to know how they're doing. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.